Hello and what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Miguel and you're watching Miguel EDC, the channel where we talk about everything EDC gear. Here today we're going to be reviewing this knife right here, budget knife that I've been EDCing for quite a while here, sent in by one of my viewers, and we're going to get into all that in a moment here. This is the Sitivien, and I believe I actually have been pronouncing it correctly this whole time, believe it or not, the Sitivien ST132. And it has somewhat of a unconventional naming. We'll also talk about that in a moment. But the ST132, this is a budget knife from Sitivien, a Chinese manufacturer of knives. And this one was actually sent in as part of a bunch of other Sitivien knives from my friend Andy. He goes by Glorybound EDC on Instagram. So make sure to check him out. Give him a follow over there on IG. Thank you, Andy, again for sending those in. For the record, guys, Andy was the very first viewer that sent in some gear into the channel, so I'm truly very, very grateful for that. And so that being said, guys, will be affiliate links down below for every knife that you see on this video. So if you're interested in checking out any of these, make sure to take a look at those affiliate links in the description. Those do help out the channel at no extra cost to you. That being said, let's talk about this knife. Again, the Sitivien ST132. Let's get things started here with a quick overall just measurement here. Let's see what we have. Okay, overall length on this bad boy is going to be around 8 1/4 inches. 8 1/4 inches there. As far as the blade, it's going to be around 3 1/2. Same deal, maybe a little bit longer on the cutting edge, you know, 3.5, 3.6. And as far as handle goes, it's going to be a total of 4 1/4. Actually 4 3/4, 4.75 inches on the handle right there. So that gives you a little bit of an idea as far as overall measurements. So what are we dealing with on this guy? As far as materials, we have a drop point blade going on with D2 steel. Got some billboarding going on here, ST132. They put the model right there on the blade. I guess that is one way to remember it, but you know, just like with other brands like Ganso knives and Fleisa, always will be very, very helpful if they gave it a more unique, distinguishable name, like Sitivien Elementum, something like that. I think you kind of get the idea. Knives are easy to remember because of their model name instead of just some letters and some numbers. But that aside, we have, again, D2 blade, satin finish, very aggressive. What is this, a flat grind going on? Yes, flat grind going on all the way through. Looks like a bell satin finish. Right, you can see all of those lines right there on the blade, which look very, very nice. And again, drop point here with somewhat of a fuller going on both sides. This guy is a liner lock, and it is a flipper deployment. As for the handle materials, we have G10, and this one's rocking an interesting Jade combination along with some red and some yellow. That's part of, I guess, the aesthetics, because here's another one, same model, but in blue G10, but the same yellow and green pattern going on right there for some size comparisons. Take a look at that. Here is this one is the ST108, and it's also on G10. I'll be reviewing this one as well as some of the other ones that are coming up. And you can see they're in the medium to large range category of knives for sure. Check out this other Sitivien here. This one is the 131, also with D2 and G10. Check that one out. And also part of that unboxing, here's another knife from Andy that I've been EDCing as well. This one is the WinPlus 3344. Similar story there. Chinese manufacturer with just model names that are numbers instead of something unique, specific, that is easy to remember. So there is that. Take a look there side by side. Let's compare it to some of the usuals here on the channel. Of course, your PM2. Right, so you're accustomed to. If you have a PM2, actually, it might be exactly the same length as a PM2. How about that? Obviously, going to be bigger than the Pair 3, without a doubt. It compares very well to the PM2. Here is the Shark's Foot Demko AD 20.5. Check that one out. And what about, last but not least, the Rat Model 1 from Ontario? Actually, might be maybe a hair smaller, but I mean, the Rat Model 1 is already a pretty big knife. So take a look right there, you guys. And the Rat Model 2, of course, the Rat Model 2 is going to be the smaller sibling. All right, that should give you guys a quick ballpark right there. So let's talk action, right? What is the action like on this guy? So again, liner lock going on here, and we have a flipper deployment. Technically, flipper deployment is the only deployment option that you have going on in this guy. So there is no button going on. Doesn't have thumb studs, and we're gonna talk about that later on. Definitely might be something that I would have preferred to have on this guy for additional deployment methods. That would have been great. It does have a fuller, but it's very, very minimal, so you really can't deploy it using the fuller. If I get lucky, sometimes I can do it with my thumb. If I put enough downward pressure, I can do that, but you know, that's like a very hit or miss type of thing, so it's not very reliant, not very reliable. Maybe that's a better word to use. Not very reliable to thumb deploy that way either. I think you guys get the idea. So flipper is going to be your main deployment option, your one and only deployment option on this knife. So that's the action for you. You do have a deep pocket carry clip there, which is reversible. For a budget knife like this one, I'm so glad they put, so it is a recessed pocket clip, and the screws are not recessed, but the actual, you know, milling right there into the scale, they cover that up as well and nicely on this side, which is pretty neat. The clip is recessed on this side, right? Not the screws, but the clip. So that's pretty interesting for this budget category. The pocket clip is pretty nice and functional, right? Not too spiky, right? Holding a pretty universal pattern, if you will. Makes it very functional in and out of the pocket. And again, pretty deep carry, which is very good. You have a G10 backspacer going on here, and you have exposed steel, stainless steel liners all throughout. There is a little bit of milling going on. There's some holes right there you can see. So we do have some milling here for weight reduction. So let's go ahead and get a quick weight on this bad boy. All right, let's take a look. On exactly 5 ounces, right? Right on the money right there, 5 ounces. So it is a large knife, and it does have some weight to it, but you know, it's not crazy heavy or crazy light. It's 5 ounces on the dot right there. That should give you somewhat of an idea. If we do a quick blade stock thickness on this guy, we come up with 0.14 inches right there under blade stock thickness. As far as the handle goes, is going to be around almost 0.6. I can almost round that up to 0.6, 0.59. That's the thickness on the handle. Doing a quick hardware check on this bad boy. As usual, my tools are very highly recommendable. They're linked down below in the description. And let's see here. Looks like we have definitely TA in the pivot. Just a good start. All right, TA in the pivot on both sides. You do have a pivot screw on both ends, okay? And then as far as the body construction here, this is going to be T6 everywhere else. There it is, T6 in the body and pocket clips. Like pocket clip, there's only one of them, not more than one. So pocket clip right there. So pretty much T6 everywhere except the pivot, which is T8. That's your hardware check right there. What else haven't we looked at? Let's do a quick carry profile, since for whatever reason we didn't do that. I put the knife here on my right hand. Here it is next to the Para 3, definitely a little bit thicker than the Para 3 and PM2 for that matter. Much thicker than the Demko AD 20.5 regardless of blade shape. Or about the Wrap Model 1. Yeah, even thicker than the Wrap Model 1 and of course Wrap Model 2. There's no doubt about that. Length and height in the pocket. I mean, it is a somewhat pretty decently slim design, right? Check it out next to the Spyderco PM2 and Para 3. Obviously, the Spydercos with the Spidey hole, those are going to be, you know, take a little bit more room in the pocket there. As far as the height goes, same with the Demko brothers here, right? Because of how much the blade sticks out from the handle. Those are going to be much wider knives there as well. And it's going to be very comparable actually to the Wrap Model 1 as well, as far as that length and height, right? Probably the best, more comparable option, if anything, right there as far as carry profile goes. All right, that being said, I believe we have pretty much done all the measurements, weight, hardware check and everything. So let's talk meats and potatoes on this guy. What has the carry experience been like? Well, first of all, this is a brand that I wasn't aware of. Honestly, I may have seen it, may have seen these knives on Amazon a time or two, but I didn't think much of it until Andy, again, he goes by Glory Bound EDC, on Instagram. Give him a follow if you haven't already. He wanted to point out the fact there's such a tremendous value on these knives for the price. So again, these are going to be linked down below. This one is coming in at around $30 on the dot, which makes it very competitive with other knife offerings, Chinese manufacturers as well, like Ganso, like Fleisa knives and such. So you do have a, this is ball bearings right here, right? Pretty drop shutty action going on. So if you take a look at that, right, you give it a little bit of a persuasion and it just goes the rest of the way there, which is pretty good. The fit and finish, I want to say this blade, I mean, it is D2 steel, which is not bad for a $30 knife. This is perfect. This is right on the money. Citivien would do probably D2 on a much more expensive knife. So D2 does it for me at this price point, which is great. Something about this fuller here makes it very aggressive. A little bit of a chamfering going on right there on the blade towards the top. Again, a drop point, satin finish, bell satin finish, flat grind going on there. Some jimping here at the top. Ergonomically speaking, let's talk about that. You do have the index finger cut out there, a little bit of a cutout for your middle finger, and then everything else, you know, ring finger, pinky, you have plenty of room. Again, I have medium hands, not the biggest, not the smallest, and as you can clearly see, I'm able to comfortably grip the knife here, bear down on it, and it feels really, really good. Again, the pocket clip, I got to give it props because it doesn't interfere or get in the way in any way, shape, or form, and it gets the job done. Got some, again, the jimping here if you want to put your thumb up here. Now, there is no forward choke option here. It's a little bit risky if you try to, because you'll be right up there, the corner of the edge, and I really wouldn't recommend doing that because it is not even round enough for a forward choke. So you could at your own risk, but I wouldn't recommend it. Just stick to, you know, the actual grip option that you have by default. You should be okay. Again, exposed steel liners throughout G10 handles, and good access to the lock bar or the liner, right? It's a liner lock once again. Check out how much of the liner you can see from the inside, which means you can actually access that liner pretty good. It's very easy, very replicatable thing to do over and over again as needed. The detent feels really good, right? Enough pressure to get it going. I'm not sure if you, I mean, I'm trying to see if I can fail the detent, but it is just that good. I'm trying not to put that much pressure, but the detent builds enough pressure where you won't fail the deployment, and that's nice. You do have, again, that one deployment, and that one deployment option being the flipper, so you do want it to work. The detent, again, is pretty good, as you can see here. Very nice and snappy, right? Functional. Definitely gets the job done right there. So yeah, other than that, as far as linear hole solution, you have nothing on the face side of the knife, which is always desirable. For the, you know, handful of folks who still do linear holes, you have a linear pin or, you know, spacer or whatever you want to call it, post in the back. So that should solve any issues there. I mean, as far as fit and finish, I do see the cutout on the G10 being a little bit bigger than the actual screw itself. Not on this one, but on this other one, for some reason it's like that. Maybe there's a method to the madness. I'm not sure why the cutout is so much bigger than the screw itself. They could have done it how they did it back here. Again, nitpicking at this point because, you know, all the corners, all the edges are nice and rounded. You know, I'm not seeing any sharp angles anywhere. And, you know, reverse grip on this guy feels pretty good. You can get a lot of work done. It is going to be a very slicey blade. Absolutely, right? It's going to get a lot of work done. This is a very universal blade shape, right? We've seen this in so many knives up until this point. So it's not like they copied anybody, because so many designs these days look so much like others, because, I mean, these are just classic knife designs for years and years. And so they work, they're functional and they work. That's the main reason there. So yeah, the ball bearings are nice, drop shutty. I'm trying to think of anything else I haven't touched on, guys. 30 bucks, 30 bucks on this knife. Now you want to talk about a knife you can beat on and discard, if anything. You know, 30 bucks are not going to break the bank any day. And if you're looking for a good secondary knife to punish, I mean, Andy tells me he's done a lot of work with these knives and he hasn't even sharpened them at all since he got them. So he's had them for a while, he hasn't sharpened them, and believe it or not, these knives are actually still very, very sharp. So let me get a piece of paper here, right? And this is not going to prove much, but this knife has certainly seen some use, right? And it still cuts. All right, look at that, right? Still cuts as if the first day out of the box. Right, let's get some slices going on here. Yeah, that is nice and slicey. You guys be the judge in the comments. Let me know. All right, it's not struggling at all. Yo, I did kind of catch it at a bad angle right there. So yeah, where you start your cut does matter. There we go. I might have jinxed myself. Well, there you have it. Yeah, it definitely still cuts. You know, for EDC daily tasks, this is not going to be a, you know, a hard to use knife, even though it probably could handle it, right? It gives me a lot of, again, the same sort of eyes that you get with the Rat Model 1. Nice hunting, survival, camping type of knife. From this one, of course, a little bit more elegant with the style going on there on the scales. So can it do cardboard? All right, you bet it can. Let's get some cardboard out here. Remember, when cutting cardboard, don't cut perpendicular, but at an angle like that, and it will look like this. So yes, I think that about makes a statement right there, and it certainly can cut cardboard. There's no doubt about that. So in conclusion, would I recommend this knife for the $30 price point? I would say absolutely. This I've been very impressed with the performance. Again, for this price point, 30 bucks, D2 blade is perfect. It comes down to the geometry more than the steel. And yeah, flat grind right here, it gets work done. It's not, you know, it's not the slimmest blade, but it's not the thickest blade either. And it just works. Flat grind, it's gonna be a slicey bad boy right there. I mean, if anything, I would have liked to have seen a forward choke option, but that's just me being very picky, if anything. But I mean, it's functional, it works, and it's 30 bucks, right? So you're getting some good materials, G10, D2. For 30 bucks, it competes with Fleisa knives that I have reviewed in the channel before. It certainly competes with Ganso, who is also doing a good job at this $20 to $30 price point as well. And yeah, a very functional knife. Just take good care of it though. It is D2 and it is not fully rust proof. But as long as you take care of your knife, you clean it ever so often, you're gonna have a nice blade there for a long time to come. And again, these are popular, known to stay very sharp for a long time for whatever reason. And if anything, just give it a good strop. You do have plenty of room here from the sharpening choil to the plunge grind right there to get a good maybe 10 to 15 sharpens out of this guy through its entire lifetime for as little as 30 doll hairs, right? $30, that's not bad at all. So there you have it. Again, the Sitivien ST132. If anything, my only sunk on this knife would be like, hey, come on, come up with some more creative names. That would be truly appreciated by the entire knife community, because if you ask me and I was trying to recommend this to a friend, I'll be like, hey, let me go ahead and look up the model number really quick, because it's so much harder to remember ST132 instead of like an actual model name. Sitivien Elemental, Kershaw Leak, Kershaw Iridium, Demko AD 20.5, I don't know, Spyderco Paramilitary 2, something like that. I don't know. Just numbers and letters don't make it easier for knife users to remember. So if you want to create a popular model, just think of a name that goes along with it, even though there's a lot of model names already that have been taken, but still, you know, put your own spin on it. Other than that, I mean, this knife is great for 30 bucks. Pick yourself one of these. Again, there are affiliate links down below in the description if you want to check this guy out. Again, there are tons of other reviews coming up for the other Sitivien models right here, these other bad boys, as well as the Win Plus as well. These are great budget knives. So whichever one of these is ready for you guys to watch next, I'm going to put it right here on this card. Guys, smash that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe. This would be a great time to make sure you don't miss out on any new content coming your way. If you made it to the end, you guys are the real MVPs. I love you all. Take care. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.